Hi guys, my name is Matt and welcome to this tutorial for an Infinity Room inspired build that I recently created. And I'm going to start by saying that this is my very first YouTube video, so please let me know down in the comments if you do have any suggestions on how I can improve in future. So the other week I posted this video on Reddit of a planetarium that I built using the map technique for Infinity Rooms, and it was pretty popular. I got several people asking me how it was done, so here we go. Before I get into the actual tutorial, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge Green as the guy behind the original Infinity Room idea. As far as I'm aware, he was the first one to do it. It was his idea, and certainly this one I'm stood in right now was his design, so full credit to him for that. The planetarium was my idea, but again, that was just from looking at Green's design and going, hey, what if I did this to it? Anyway, now that's out of the way, let's get on and do the tutorial. So for those of you going, hang on Matt, what on earth is an Infinity Room? I'm going to start by showing you how a standard Infinity Room works, that design of Green's, and then I'll go on and explain what to do to change that into a planetarium. I'll put a timestamp in the description, so if you already know all about Infinity Rooms, you know how to build them, you know how they work, and you just want to see the planetarium, you can feel free to go ahead and skip ahead to that. So the trick to building an Infinity Room lies in the fact that if you put down an item frame like this, and then you pop a map on it, then that map is going to cover the entire face of that block. So to get an Infinity Room, what you need to do is cover an entire room in maps like this one that are all one solid color. Now you can use any color you want for this, it doesn't have to be white, but I do recommend going with either a pure white one like this is what Green uses, or one that is pitch black, which is a little bit terrifying, but that does work pretty well as well. So how do we create a map that is all one solid color? Well, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to build an area that looks a little bit like this. And what we have here, it is an area that is 130 by 130 blocks. It is all one block type and it is completely flat. If you take a look at this map I have here in my inventory, as you can see, that is all one plain white square. It's a map of this area in front of me. It's completely white, and this is what we will be using to actually build our Infinity Room. Now the reason you want it to be completely flat, you can't just say cover the terrain in one color of block, is because that if you have it going up and down, then that map will shade the different areas to show what the contours are doing, and obviously we can't have any different shades on this or an Infinity Room won't work. Now when it comes to where you build this thing, you're going to want to go a long way out into the world away from where your main area is. So let's just pretend this village here is our base, and if I turn around here we have a horrible giant white square right next to it. You obviously don't want this, it would just completely wreck the look of your build, so go far away so that it's not ruining the look of where you're really playing the game and doing all your stuff. Okay, so I am now a good way out in the world. What I need to do now is I need to figure out exactly what area the map is going to show. So I have an empty map here in my inventory. I'll go ahead and use that to create this map. And then I want to go into the corner. So there's a corner near to me down here. So I'll come over here. And then once I'm in that corner, I'll put the map away so it's not in my way. And I'm going to go F3 and G. And that is going to show me where the chunk borders are. So this block here, this is the corner of this chunk that is in the corner of this map. So I know that this block right here is the very corner of the map. So I'll put a block down there just to mark it for now, and I can put away the chunk borders. Now if I come back onto this world where I've already got one of these big white squares built and I pull up the chunk borders, as you can see I have actually gone one block past where the edge of my map is. Now the reason for that is because I found that, at least for me when I was building these Infinity Rooms, if I only came up to here, to the very edge of my map, I would then end up with a map that had a very slight line at the edge of it, which was ruining the final Infinity Room effect that I was trying to achieve. And if I then came one block past like this, that would prevent that and I would end up with the proper Infinity Room. Not 100% sure why it works like that, but it does seem to work to do it this way. Now, when it comes to actually building this thing, if you are in creative, then it's just a very easy matter of using the /fill command to instantly generate your big square. If you're in survival, unfortunately you are going to have to do the entire thing by hand, but the good news is that at least you only ever have to do it once, and then once you've got it, you can just use the same area again and again to create as many infinity rooms as you want to. So now we're going to build the room itself. And what we're going to need for this, we're going to need some sort of light block. That is what all the walls, the floor and the ceiling of this room are going to be made out of. I am going with glowstone here, but it doesn't really matter. Say like sea lanterns, for example, would work just as well. We're going to need some item frames. We're going to need signs, and of course we're going to need our maps. So here is our room made out of glowstone. Just one thing quickly to note here is you don't want to go too big with this. The reason being that item frames are entities, so if you make a really giant room, this could get pretty laggy. I would say that probably no more than about 10 by 10 and 3 blocks high is plenty. Unless you are doing a planetarium, in which case you want to go very slightly taller, so I've gone 4 blocks just because you don't want the ceiling to be too close to you if you're doing a planetarium. Anyway, what we want to do now is we want to start covering this thing every single block with an item frame. And once you've done that, you will end up with something that looks a little bit like this. Yes, our room is now covered with item frames with the exception of our door to get out over here and a place up here to drop into the room. Now you don't have to have a vertical entrance like this dropping in. I've just chosen to do it like this so that I can show you both ways of getting in or out. The way we're going to cover over these with item frames is we're going to put signs like this, and I'll do the same up there in a second, and we're going to place a item frame on the edge of the sign like that, and the same for up here. And with the vertical one, you would probably want to put a sign above that as well, so that when you're dropping down you don't see the back of this item frame here. But now that we've done that, our room is now totally covered in the item frames, and we can start running around and placing maps like this. Before you get your room completely covered, you want to make a note of which wall your door is in. So if I pull up F3 now and I just take a look, I'm facing south, so I will be able to do that again once this room is completely white, and I'll know that if I run to the south wall and just push along it, I will be able to find the door. And there we have it, a completed infinity room. Obviously cannot see anything, it is just pure white. I am moving the mouse, I'm looking around and running around. And now if I do want to get out, I can just press F3, make sure I am facing south, and then run towards that wall and run backwards and forwards along it. There we go, until I find the way out. You can of course also do something like this, where you have just 1 or 2 pieces of furniture in here, like this chair, that then gives you some kind of frame of reference. You can now actually see that you're looking around and moving around, but beyond that it still looks like this very, very surreal infinity room. And just for reference, here's what it would look like if you'd chosen to use a black block rather than a white one. Terrifying. Great. So now you know how to make an infinity room. How do we go about turning this into this? Well, to show you, let's head over back to our map area. Right, so here we are back at our map area. Obviously this one is completely black for the planetarium, and what we need to do now is we need to start running all over this thing, dotting down white blocks like this. You can use any old white block, doesn't really matter. I've got white wool here, but like I say, it really doesn't matter. You can use any white block. When you're doing this, you don't want to go too close together, so don't put down a block, say like that. If you do that a lot, then the whole thing is probably just going to end up looking like a bit of a mess. So space them out a bit. I would say anywhere from around 8 to 10 blocks apart, roughly, would be good. You also don't want to go up and down like this, so don't just go up like this and then come down next to it, and then do that back and forward all the way across the whole thing, because you'll be able to tell when you look at the map. It'll have this order to it. It won't look quite as random, and it'll still look cool. It just won't quite look as good as if you run around randomly just placing blocks like this. When you're done, your area will look a little bit like this, and you can also always check your map while you're going to see how it looks like, and again at the end just to check that you're happy with it. I think this looks pretty okay, so we'll head back to the Infinity Room now and we will see how it is looking. And I have to say, this one is looking pretty nice. Yeah, I am happy with this one. Hopefully you are happy with whatever one you make as well. If you do get to this stage and you come here and you're like, not really sure about this, you can always go back to your map area, have a bit of a play around with your white blocks, move them around a bit until you are happy with it. Just repeat that as much as you need to until you're happy. Anyway, I am going to leave this video here. Very quickly before I go, I will just say again, this is my very first video, so I'm sure I've probably been making loads of rookie mistakes, so please, please, please let me know what I can do better next time. This is by no means a one-off thing. I do plan on making more videos, but for now, that is all I've got for you, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.